sci-fi things.
Well, yeah, the entire like Summer Games Fest like main show, which is the only one I actually ended up watching. It was like, okay, so you guys want 30 space horrors and then a bunch of anime, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here's the I forget what it's called. It's not Nightingale, but is it Nightingale? I don't know. The one that was made by a bunch of ex Bioware devs.
All
And
I
that's
want
like
to
the
say real
fantasy
quick
game.
is
Yes.
that you said space horrors, and I could have sworn you said space horrors, and I'm like, yeah, bring out the space horrors.
It's like one of those like old pinups where like it's a girl in like a big bubble helmet, but like a bikini.
Yeah, space horror. Like you say space horrors, and Miranda walks into the room like, who said my name?
Yes, Shepard. God.
Sorry, Nightingale.
Yeah, well, that's like the only fantasy game that I remember in that whole show. Now, granted, there could have been other things in other shows, but like, yeah, just everyone like it's like all the games companies got together. Like, all right, guys, 2022. This is the year of you're stuck in a space station and something's chasing you.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. Robot, alien, zombies, doesn't matter. Stuck in a space station, something's chasing you. Also, anime.
Yeah, well, anime's never been bigger, as we know, but also like.
Yeah.
We went so many years without Dead Space where people are going like, Dead Space, bring back Dead Space. And now it's like, hey, they're bringing back Dead Space and 5 other things that look just like Dead Space.
Yeah, there was one thing. Michael walked in during, I forgot what the game's called. And he just sat there for a minute watching it. And he looked at me like, is this Dead Space? And I'm like, it's actually not, but it looks a lot like it.
Right.
So.
Actually, before I talk about that, what about Waylanders? Have you ever tried, or do you have any interest in Waylanders? They hit their 1.0 finally. Waylanders is made by what? Gato Studios. This has some former Bioware talent there.
I have a vague memory of this, but I am not remember. Hold on, I'm googling it real quick.
It's pretty. It has an art style that's more stylized, but it has
this
Dragon Age-y gameplay, like real time with pause.
Yeah, I might try it. I don't know. Something about it just doesn't capture me, but like I don't hate it or anything.
I feel also exactly the same way.
Yeah, I just like I have very little time right now. Like I can play a game like maybe 30 minutes a day. And so like I better like look at the game and go, fuck yeah, that is my shit. Otherwise I can't. I don't have time to play it. So right now, literally all I've played is Animal Crossing and Dragon Age and Mass Effect, and then my husband and I were playing Luigi's Mansion together. And that's all I've played in like 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird that like I don't know. My mom was sometimes like, "Oh, Caitie, you're one of those gamers, right?" I'm like, I guess if you count like 1,000 hours in Animal Crossing, a hardcore gamer, then yeah, sure. Look at me go.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like if this was like it came out a couple years ago, I'd try it. But now with a kid, I just don't have the time. But you know, I wish them well. Maybe like if it goes on sale and the kiddo's a bit older, then I'll try it. But yeah.
Yeah, there's more games than ever and less time to play them. And I don't exactly have. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I don't exactly have an abundance of time. In fact, I don't have that much, but it's like I'm doing the thing where I bounce off of stuff.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, what happened to Death Stranding there, Buddo?
Bounced off of it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come back to it. Like, it's all stuff that I like, but like I'm trying to go back and beat stuff that I didn't beat. And I just keep going, oh, well, I also didn't beat this other thing. I'll restart that. And I didn't beat this other thing, so I'll restart that. And I don't know. Like, I'm not, before I used to get like frustrated with myself for not finishing stuff. And now I'm just like, I don't fucking care, man. Like this is here to entertain me for a little bit at the end of a long day. And if I'm entertained with it for a few days and then I want to be entertained by something else and I don't finish it, like, I don't care. I have a job. My job is not to finish games. Like, I just...
That's true, yeah.
Like, if I'm entertained by it and I get a third of the way through 5 different games and I'm happy with that, who fucking cares? Like, I don't have to finish stuff.
Yeah, that's the way to go. That's how I played games as a kid, because I was such a weenie when I was a kid, because I was so afraid of the final boss. I cannot tell you how many games where I got the final boss and I was too scared to start it, and so I just never beat the game. Basically, every game I played as a kid was like that. I don't know why. So.
I mean, it used to be when you were a kid that, like, if you beat a game, like, that was like, holy shit. Like, because games were so hard that, like, they were designed so that a small percentage of people could beat them.
That's true.
They're not
Yeah.
like today where it's like the makers expect you to get to the end.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. So yeah, I guess the topic of today, Dragon Age Netflix Absolution is a thing.
What's happening?
We okay, in full clarity, we meant to do this right as it came out, but I was sick. So,
Life happens. That's okay. People are going
yeah.
to be hyped for a long time. When we release this, people are still going to be hype.
Yeah, I actually just released like a breakdown video on it on my channel, and I was like, "Oh, no one gives a shit." But like, it's actually been pretty popular. People are still really excited about it. Actually, I say that a lot of people are also very critical of it. I get a lot of comments, kind of bashing the uncreative art style, is what I would describe the comments as.
What kind of art style did people want or expect?
Well, I frankly I don't know. I think that it's there was one person. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to find the comment because it's gonna be buried now because there's like almost 100 comments on there. But someone was there's been a lot of like hub hullabaloo, like I don't like anime, I'm not gonna watch this, even though like it's not anime, whatever. But there's someone else made a comment in response to that, like, no, anime people are like obsessed with character design. And just to let you know, this is very boring character design. I sat there thinking about it, like, actually, yeah, it is kind of boring character design because a lot of people look the same. Um, like there's like the human mage, and then there's like a human warrior female, and they both kind of look similar. When you look at the things, unless like they're supposed to be twins, and that's like a whatever. But like, yeah, it's this, the Vox Machina show, the Dota show. I know the Witcher show was actually done by the same company, so maybe that's cheating. But they all kind of just look the same, and there's a bunch of others. And so I think people were just kind of hoping that this would feel more unique in a lineup of right now Western media aimed at adults that all look the same.
Yeah, it's
Granted,
not
I
going to
think
look unique. Like at this
right.
point,
I
people should have their expectation. It looks like Dragon Prince. Like honestly, like
Yeah,
people should really expect it at this point.
yeah, I guess people were hoping more for something more like Arcane rather than this. I will say like Arcane has LOL money, so of course it looks like it does. But
Yeah. Also,
like they
Arcane is the peak. I think Arcane is the best thing that Netflix is like the best animated thing that they've done, and I don't think anything's going to be Arcane, honestly.
well, right, but I think that's what people wanted. They wanted Dragon Age Arcane, and I think that like I feel like Netflix does want this to work, but they're being incredibly safe about it. Because League of Legends already has a huge fan base, whereas Dragon Age, like, it's pretty small in comparison.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I think that's why they're trying to be safe about it, and I think that's why, like, when you watch the trailer, if you don't slap the name Dragon Age on there, most people would not think that's Dragon Age, because there is, other than like a statue of Andraste, which is easily missed, there is not one single Dragon Age like iconic symbolism or whatever. Like the Canary could easily just be oh, what's that race in D&D that have the horns? I forget. But like there's other races in fantasy that look like Canary, so it's not like that big of a deal. Like
Hmm.
it looks very generic, and I think people were kind of hoping it did not do that. And I guess I don't mind it as much as long as there's the stories there. And I think if the story's not there, then it's just going to go down as every other animated Dragon Age show that exists. So
Sure. Yeah, and I mean for Mass Effect or Dragon Age, the track record is not so great, right?
no, I have not seen the Mass Effect one, but I hear it's special.
Right.
Um, is there only one Mass Effect movie animated thing? Because there's 3 in Dragon Age.
I'm just thinking of the one with Vega, and so yeah, I'm think
Yeah,
that's the one.
yeah. Because Dragon Age has Dawn of the Seeker, which is like good bad. Like, it's not good, but it's kind of funny in how it's bad. So it's
Hmm.
that's debatable. Then there's the oh fuck, what's it called? It's the one with Kristoff, and it was like it's basically a machinima. That wasn't finished. That one's also kind of good bad because it's like they have 2 voice actors in the entire thing, and it's like 2 guys talking to each other the entire time.
Right.
And then there's Felicia Day as Felicia Day.
Boy,
Dragon Age
yeah,
Redemptions.
yeah.
That
There's
that
that
one
one.
that one at least has heart. They tried on that one. I'll give it
Yeah,
that. It's not great, but they gave a shit. So
yeah.
yeah, Felicia Day is surprised. Like Felicia Day's Dragon Age Redemption is probably the best Dragon Age film. thing, and I don't know if Absolution is going to beat it at this point. What do you think?
As far as whether or not it's going to beat the Felicia Day thing, I don't like it. I'm setting my expectations about as close to the floor as I can for this. And it's not to be pessimistic as a Dragon Age person or as a like Bioware community person. It's not even about that. This is not, and I hate to break it to people, but like this is not our thing. This is not
Yeah.
Bioware community's thing. This is not Dragon Age community's thing. This is a Netflix thing.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's the,
called it Dragon Age for normies.
sure, yeah, that's a great way to put it too. It's like, guess what? That Cowboy Bebop travesty like farce bullshit that they
Oh.
did, that's not for Cowboy Bebop fans. That's so Netflix can pad its catalog. I can appreciate what the Witcher like live action series is, but that's not for Witcher fans. That's for people who have a Netflix subscription to just have more things. And the same thing for the Witcher animated thing. And even look, I'm not a League of Legends person, and I loved Arcane, but I guess I won't comment on that one from the standpoint of the fans of the game because I'm not in that. But it's like everything that they're doing is about Netflix's catalog. It's not about the fan base of the properties that they're licensing. It just isn't. Like
Yeah.
they've never once proven that they're interested in giving the existing fan base like something that's true to lore or true to characters or true to anything. It's just about giving some people a blank slate to make whatever show they want with this license. And that doesn't mean it's going to be bad because some of this stuff I've really liked. But it's, I'm almost trying to think of it like not as a BioWare Dragon Age thing and just like, it's just going to be another Netflix show that might be kind of good. It might surprise us and be Arcane level good with the story.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to keep my expectations pretty damn low. I'd rather let it surprise me and overshoot my expectations.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've ended up too. Like I guess I'm excited for new material to look at while we wait for the game. At the same time, I guess I don't expect much. Like I here's the thing, like I even said this in the video. Like there hasn't the only Dragon Age media tie-ins as someone who has played or watched every single one. The only ones that are actually important to the world are ones done by BioWare writers, and this is
Right.
not done by BioWare writers. In fact, I can't find it other than them renting the license. Like BioWare has had zero involvement in this, from what I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I guess I don't expect like anything earth shattering. I don't think any of those people are going to be our companions. I don't think anything in the show is going to be in the game at all, and I don't think anything in the game is going to be in the show at all. I think it's going to be completely separate. Um, it probably is gonna be set in the Dragon Age just because that's, like, the namesake, but, even that, I wouldn't be surprised if they call it Dragon Age and then it's set, like, 400 years ago or, or something like that, so it doesn't really
Sure.
make sense, but nobody gives a shit. So, but yeah, at the same time, someone, again, another comment, and I don't remember who it was, and I'm so sorry, said like, "Isn't this something we want?" Like, you get a whole bunch of people that watch the show not knowing what Dragon Age is and thinking like, "Oh, I know this is a video game. I wonder what the video game is like because I kind of like the show." And then you onboard people into the series that way. And I'm like, well, that could be good. And there's definitely people that would probably be into the show and maybe they'll play the game or watch a playthrough online or something like that. And that would be wholesome and you get new fans that way and we build our community. At the same time, like I have definitely watched shows that have other media attached to them and have absolutely no interest in like reading the book or playing the game or something like that. So like
100%. I'm never
I don't
going to
know.
play League of Legends. I'm not interested
No.
in that genre of game, but I loved Arcane. But
Well,
I'm not going to become a League of
I will
Legends
say
fan.
League is different though because pretty much everyone who has played League and watched Arcane, people are like, "Oh, maybe I should play League." They go, "No, never play League. Just don't play League." I love League, don't play League.
Yeah, like it's not going to make a new fan of that game. It's just I like the show.
Yeah, but League is weird. Okay, League is weird because you also have like the KDA. Is it KDA? The like it has its own pop band that like
It's like a
makes
sport.
shit. Yeah, it's a sport. It's League is kind of transcended the video game experience into like being a sport in its own sense, and like it has like its own fandom now of people that have literally never played League but they just love the characters and the artwork and the shorts that come out and the band. Because like I know they've had a couple songs, but that first song that came out, like that was a fun song. I liked it. I don't give a shit about League, and I'm never playing the game.
Sure.
So I feel like Arcane is in its own special group and probably shouldn't be counted. And we're just gonna let it float away because it has League
Yeah.
money and it just goes
Yeah.
over there. You know.
Well, it has League money, but also Arcane is a really good story. And it's not like it's written by someone who's an Academy Award winning screenwriter or something. At least I don't think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to pay a writer, but it looks great. I think that's mainly what you're talking about when you say it has League money. Is it looks phenomenal, but it's not successful because of how good it looks. In my opinion, it's got a really well written story, like a no nonsense, well written story. And that's not free, but you don't even need a lot of money to have a writer who can come up with a really good story. Mm-hmm. But it is in a league. It's in a league all its own. I mean, it's hard to describe. I don't want to turn this into the Arcane episode, but
well, I haven't even
really,
seen
really
it, to
good.
be honest.
It's phenomenal. It's really good. And I can find reasons to bitch about almost anything, but it's really fucking good. They don't mess around with that. But to the comment that one person made about, isn't this what we want? It grows the fan base. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's hard. This is a hard thing to describe or to say exactly, but like, I kind of don't care about that. Like, that is I think we have to be very careful in these different fandoms, which is becoming kind of a weird word, that like,
yeah,
this is not our business. Like, we're not profiting off of this. We don't make money. EA makes money. Like, I want them to make a good thing. The whole growing the fandom thing, it's like, what? I mean, that is a business strategy. So it's just weird to hear people who don't have any stake in the profit motive of these companies. Star Wars fans say the same thing, and Marvel fans say the same thing. And it's kind of this weird thing, which is like, wait, that helps these companies make more profit. Like, why do we care? Shouldn't we just care if the thing's good?
Well, I will argue a little bit. I agree overall, but I will argue a little bit in that we don't make money. We actually do make money. Not a lot. We make like maybe 20 or 30, 40 bucks a month doing this.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're right.
At least on least doing the podcast, I make a bit more on my own series. Like, I would profit if the Dragon Age fandom grew huge. It grew as big as Star Wars. I would probably make a lot more money doing that. However, that being said, I'm kind of a lazy piece of shit. And
well, not compared to me. compared to me, you're the hardest working person on the planet.
But like, I don't want to fuck around with moderating my bullshit just because it's annoying. I don't like making people feel bad because I'm a big pussy. And I if the fandom grows larger, I'm going to have to do that. And frankly, I don't really want to go there. And it's worth not making that money if the fandom stays small. I have no idea what the fuck I'm going to do if Dragon Age 4 ends up being a huge hit, because then I'm going to have to like work harder, and I'm like, oh, fuck me, what am I doing? I'm honestly like, if it gets like so like, if it gets just absurdly huge, I would honestly sit there thinking maybe I need to quit, because like, I got a kid I gotta focus on. If I have to do more work than I'm currently doing, I would just be like, oh, fuck me. So like, I will say, like, we do profit on making the fandom larger. However, just for my own selfish reasons, I kind of wanted to say, like, to stay the same size it is. That being said, I think your overall point is correct. Of like, the person who left that comment, assumingly they're not a content creator, maybe they are, because I can't remember who it is. They don't profit off of it. Maybe they profit in the sense of there's more people they can hang out with, and there's more artwork they enjoy, and stuff like that, and like, maybe that's what they like. Or more products are made to them, and they want, like, there's more Dragon Age merch being sold, and they're like, oh great, I like this. So like, maybe there is something they get out of it. But yeah, there is like a weird, I honestly do think that fandoms are replacing religion in a lot of senses, and
Absolutely,
like, that does kind of weird me out a little bit, because it's where you get your community, and it's also like, not that communities are bad, but the problem is that we're centering our communities and our likes and our interests and our personalities and our belief systems
Yep.
on large media franchises where the goal is to make money off of us. And so I think I always try to caution people away from your entire personality being Dragon Age. Like, I know, like, I kind of present that because this is my online persona, but in real life, very few people know I do this, and I have a whole other personality and shit that
Right.
I do. So, I actually don't have that much Dragon Age merch.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with merch. I buy
Yeah.
merch. Merch is
Well, yeah,
great,
nothing
but
wrong with merch, but I'm just saying, like, I don't, like, show my pride and whatever like that.
yeah,
Like, "Oh, no, like, I
yeah.
wear solid color clothing most of the time. I don't really have a shirt, you know?" So
It's fewer and fewer like shirts that I'll go out in public like, I'm gonna wear this Dragon Age shirt. Like now, it feels a little weird to do that, but
yeah.
um, I completely agree with what you said. I didn't use the applause clip because I know you don't like it, but I could have because it was a great statement you made about how fandom is becoming religion. It's really weird in that I think going back to my earlier statement about like we don't profit from it, I think maybe the real reason why people care about the fandom is that they don't want to lose. They want more people to talk to,
Yeah, and I
right?
think that's valid, but I guess I would just encourage people to get into communities where there's not a big like corporation, like hobbies like knitting or mechanical keyboards. Guess what I'm getting into right now? Because there's like a bunch of company, you know, like you do whatever, but like not just one particular franchise. And I know like a lot of people listening, like, well, yeah, you know, I'm in a bunch of fandoms. It's not just one, it's whatever. You know, I also love doing it, and that's fine. But like there are those people out there, and you know who you are, where you're
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, that's just it, right? Like being into film is a hobby,
Yeah.
but you don't just plop down on. Quite frankly, I mean, the Marvel stuff is just garbage. I'm sorry, but like a lot of the recent Marvel stuff is goddamn awful. And
Mhm.
people are like, "Hey, man, like don't be negative." Or the one that I love is like, "How come you can't just let people like stuff? Like, you can like it even if I don't. I'm not stopping you from liking it." But it's this weird thing of like it's not my job to like it. It's their job to make it good. Like if if a community fails around a particular thing, if the Mass Effect franchise fails, that's not my fault. Like I'm not making this shit. Like if they come out with 6 Andromedas in a row and nobody wants to play any more Mass Effect games, like it's not my job to lie about it and
Yeah.
say it's good when it's not. Like if I work 15 hours in a day or you finally have a little bit of time after taking care of your family and your daughter all day and you want to play a video game, like money exchanged hands, even if it's Game Pass, even if it's
Mhm.
a subscription based thing, even if it's a Netflix show, whatever. Like I paid you motherfuckers to give me something that entertains me.
Mhm.
I'm like I don't want to be harsh towards to the actual creators. Like they did their best, whatever the case may be.
That's
But
true, yeah.
for the company that is publishing it, it's like I gave you guys money. Give me entertainment. If I don't like it, I'm not supposed to pretend to like it or risk being called a negative person or like, oh, this is
Mm.
toxic. Don't say bad things about it. Like it's supposed to entertain me. It's not my job to pretend it's good in order to like make sure the message boards don't get too quiet. Like that's not my job.
I have two responses. One, I at least want to clarify that like the people that say like oh what is it? Oh, let us enjoy things. I think that only applies to people that like find a comment positive about a thing you hate and then respond to saying I hated that thing. No person, don't even enter that conversation. Go find someone that says I hate that thing and says yes, you're completely right. It was dog shit. Then
Yeah,
you let people enjoy thing. That's the only clarification I would have. The second is for some reason this reminds me of like the most I don't know what to describe it as. The thing that it just boils my blood even thinking about it was the reaction to the Ghostbusters 2016 whatever the female
sure.
Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
because that movie was the biggest piece of shit, and it was awful, but hating that movie made you sexist suddenly, and it
Sure.
was this whole smear campaign done by the studio themselves because there was a whole bunch of stuff before the movie even came out saying anyone that doesn't like our movie just doesn't like women, when they were just hiding behind outrage and using women that were trying to say, well, these are funny female comedians, so surely this will be a good movie. And they were just using people and using this outrage to just try to get butts and seats for the shittiest goddamn movie I've ever seen. And it still makes me pissed off.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Because people who were absolutely correct, and like the poor guys, they're just like, look, I review movies for a living, and this is a bad movie, and people are like, oh no, you just hate women. You think women can't be funny? No, this is just a dog shit movie. It just sucks. And
Yeah.
I had the displeasure of being on a plane, and one of the few movies that I could watch was the Ghostbusters thing. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to see what this is about. And it was the longest, however long it was, of my life. And it had weird choices. It wasn't funny except for I forget the black woman's name. She was the best part of the movie, despite, which also makes me pissed off because she was the worst part of the trailer, and she was the best part of the movie. They did her dirty in that trailer.
Yeah, Leslie Jones, who you're talking about.
Thank you, and Leslie Jones.
Here's the thing, right? Like, the women in that movie are funny comedians outside of that movie. The script was just bad. Like, it just sucks. Like, Kristen Wiig is funny. Yeah, Melissa McCarthy's funny. Leslie Jones is funny, but like, it just wasn't a good movie.
No, it sucked ass. It was terrible. If you like, look, okay, this is my podcast. I get to say what you want. If you like Ghostbusters 2016, I'm sorry, we can't be friends. I get so
Caitie,
pissed
how come
off
you can't let people like things?
Because this is my show.
God damn it! Where's the applause sound clip? No, you're 100% right. So anyway, okay, so like on to Dragon Age Absolution.
Oh right, the real topic. Oh right.
I'm gonna watch it. Obviously, you're gonna watch it. I hope it's really good. Like, my fingers are crossed that it's good. I hope I sit down and after the first episode, I go, "Here we go. This is way better than I thought." Like, I'm so happy to, have my expectations blown out of the water. But my expectations are pretty much at the floor. I'm gonna set it as low as possible, and I'm gonna let the show prove me wrong. Like, that's the way I'm going in.
Yeah, I'm pretty much going into this thinking that it's going to be on par with the other Dragon Age films, which, like we just said, isn't much higher than your par, I guess.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess all I can ask for is that they have something so ridiculous I just start laughing. Yeah, that's all I can ask. So
yeah, and it's too, like, it's not as though I personally am a stalwart defender of like utter peak quality, because I loved Mass Effect Andromeda, even though I know I mentioned Andromeda a second ago in kind of a negative way. I just mean in the sense that the broader community considers it. Yeah. Mass Effect Andromeda is not that good of a video game, and yet I love it because I'm very tolerant within a genre. Like, I like space shit. So if I get space shit, and in particular if it's Mass Effect space shit, I become very tolerant. So I'm not even, and I'm fairly tolerant of, like, I will watch fantasy shows or whatever, like you. It's like there's not a lot of stuff out there, so I'm like, all right, whatever, man. I'll lower the bar because it's somewhat decent and it's fantasy, and like, I just want something to watch with this. I'll tolerate it. If Dragon Age Absolution hits that mark, all right, I guess 1 thumbs up, maybe 2 thumbs up, just for the, like, A for effort. Like, I'm not saying it has to be peak fiction, but I'm not going to make any excuses for it. If it sucks, I'm just going to be like, hey guys, guess what? Not Bioware, not Dragon Age as a property. Netflix shit the bed. Right? Like, Netflix did this. That's really going to be the line on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's where I land too.
But. Are there any particulars that, because the day it dropped, I was so unplugged from, like, social media and everything. I was super busy with work. What is the, because people always do this. They center in on a particular character or two, even if all we have is 2 seconds of footage of them. Has anyone become an early favorite from what they've shown?
Yeah, okay. I've only ever seen chatter about the elven rogue that you see at, like, who's obviously the main character, and then the Canary Mage. And the Canary Mage it's a weird split between people loving her and wanting to marry her and all that stuff. And
same thing.
Yeah, being kind of upset that she's not buff. I think right now the internet's just into tall, strong women, please step on me mode, and like if there's not one
Sure.
of those in the media, but there could have been because Canary are big, they're upset. I I think it's I don't know. I just don't care. You know,
For those of us who aren't looking to get stepped on, it's neither here nor there. It's like it's a kunari,
yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, I've seen some people try to like explain this. Like, well, no, we're just upset because like they had to make the girl character wispy and thin, and we want more body types in our media. Okay, I can kind of get behind that, but I also like buff Canary step on me. I'm like,
Oh, she's
whatever.
not wispy though.
Yeah, she's a little bit thicker, but like, it's still like she's just tall, skinny woman rather than short, skinny woman. I kind of see the argument. I just
Mm.
it's just a generic art style, and that's just what it is. Like if for some reason if this gets ported to the game, who knows? Maybe she takes off her dress and she's just like, like I can't even name like a famous female bodybuilder, but she's just like ripped. Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows if this animated style can even do ripped body women? You know, so like maybe it's supposed to be, and there's gonna be like, oh yeah, the Canary mage has a six pack, and like it like cuts to it, and it's just like it looks like nothing. But I don't know. Sorry. As for the Elven Rogue, everyone there's been a lot of chatter hoping that the Elven Rogue is non-binary. I maybe who knows, but other than that, everyone's just like Elven Rogue, Elven Rogue, Elven Rogue, Elven Rogue. I one thing that confuses me. There was a lot of people saying like, where's the people of color in the show? But like when you look at the companion buildup, there's like a black guy and a dwarven guy that looks like he's POC. So I'm like, not like, did you guys not watch what I watched? What are you talking about? So I don't know. It's been weird reactions on Twitter of people just kind of like being angry for things that's I think are kind of stupid, and like you got like it's people being okay. I guess it's just being Twitter. It's people being angry for no reason, and
Mm-hmm.
it's people like just wanting to hump the characters day one. So it is what it is. I
Yeah.
guess me personally, I there's none of the character designs stand out. The only thing that stands out to me is that the elf has like a tattoo that I've never seen before, and I'm curious if they'll actually do something with that, or if it's just like there and it's never explained. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Twitter's a weird button to press because you can just be a part of a group outrage and then feel like you're being heard, I guess. But,
Mhm.
I'm sure once the show comes out, well, maybe I'm being optimistic. I'm sure once the show comes out, people will give it a shot. I'm sure they will. Like the
Oh
people who
yeah.
are, whatever, they're hyper excited for it, but also their expectations are very high. Like I'm going to give it a shot because my expectations are very low.
I'm gonna give it a shot because it's my channel branding to watch every single tie-in media to Dragon Age.
Well, also like it's like to me, here's the thing, right? Like if I don't have that much time to watch stuff generally. Like the way that I am watching stuff is like me and my girlfriend are gonna have to watch it like in the evening, like when we watch a thing, and so it'll be
Mm-hmm.
very interesting to see how she reacts to it because she likes anime generally. She likes
Mm-hmm.
Western animated stuff. She's watched Netflix animated stuff we have together, so like she'll have an opinion,
Mm-hmm.
not as a Dragon Age fan, but as someone who's pretty plugged into like animation in general.
Yeah. I will say like I'm kind of an animation snob to be honest, and like I love Sailor Moon. We should all know I'm obsessed with Sailor Moon. I look on my desk right now. I have a Sailor Moon little bucket for pens. I have a little Sailor Moon calendar. I have a Sailor Moon coaster. Like I love Sailor Moon. I have not watched Sailor Moon Crystal. I did the animation style that they did wasn't good. I know it got better and they redid it, but it just rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm like I'm just not I don't care. I'm just not going to watch it. I just haven't
Hmm.
watched it. And, like, maybe when it's all out and it's, like, cause like, they're still waiting on, like, a movie or 2, and, like, maybe I'll just see what they do with it or whatever, but I honestly have no desire to sit there and watch Crystal. And I kinda like, if I wasn't doing the show, I don't know if I'd watch the Netflix Dragon Age thing either. Maybe if everyone, like, loved it and, like, "Oh, maybe it's something to turn out," but, like, I don't know. I'm invested in the main story of Dragon Age, the side stories. Eh, eh.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that, like I said, Netflix comes out with a lot of stuff, And if you watch what is often considered the top of the pile, right? Like I know people have at times said, "Oh, then Netflix has great original animated shows," and I'm like, to me, my response is like, "Are you sure?" Because I think they have one, and of course, Castlevania, and Dragon Prince. Like that's when I hear people defend their animated lineup. Those are the things that people say, right? Arcane, obviously, which is great, and then Castlevania and Dragon Prince. Like this is what people claim to be the top of the pile.
Yeah,
and Dragon Prince is good. Like I watched Dragon Prince is fine. Like it's good. Castlevania is good, but like I'm not flipping out over it. In particular, like the quality of the actual animation compared to like anime and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's not good. It's not good. The stories are okay, and that's why it's worth watching. But like the actual animation is like leagues behind something like Demon Slayer or My Hero or something like that.
Yeah. Now here's at least my problem. We've been recording for about 30 minutes, and I think I'm kind of done with Absolution talk because there's really nothing else to say unless you have something.
No, I think we've already covered it mainly. Can we talk a little bit about the studio doing it? What else have they done? And I don't even know if you know that information.
I looked it up. They did the Witcher animated show. They did. That
makes sense.
So it's a Korean company. Called, is it Red Dog?
That makes sense a lot, actually. Yeah, I think it's Red Dog Culture House. Now I'm looking it up too.
Yeah. And like they've only done like 3 or 4 shows. I'm trying to remember the others. It was things I didn't recognize. Only the Witcher one I did. There's like a thing that looks more anime that people had heard of, but I haven't. If you're looking it up, then you're gonna know faster than me. But
yeah, honestly, you mentioned the Witcher animated movie. I think is it a movie or a series? It's a movie,
I honestly
right?
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. It's fun. Like again, like that doesn't surprise me. I think that what I'm looking for in this is more just like this is another thing that adds to Netflix lineup of shows. And as an actual Dragon Age fan, we'll see if it has anything for actual Dragon Age fans.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let's go to their website and see what they do. I want to skip the intro. Okay. So they have where's your like list of products, my dude? Okay, yeah, God, their thing is too complicated. So they did Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf, Heaven's Official Blessing, Centaur World looks interesting. It's definitely a different animation style than the others. Good Hunting and the 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross, and that looks like all of their projects, plus the Dragon Age one now. They're at least advertising. Maybe there's something else in the works. I haven't seen any of that, but if you have, let us know how good it is. I've heard mixed things on the Witcher thing, and that's about it. Yeah.
Well, props to them. I'm sure there's a lot of talented folks who work there. I hope it's very good. Just constant reminder to folks, if you take a bite of the food and you don't like the way the food tastes, you're not being an asshole if you tell them I don't like how the food tastes to the chef.
Yeah. I will say, like, maybe don't tweet at individual people. That is kind of shitty. Like, but tweet at Netflix. Let Netflix know. Say Netflix.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that once. That one really weirds me out when people find the person on Twitter and say your show sucks or your I don't understand. That doesn't do anything. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying if you just want to tweet it out into that's just your opinion, go ahead.
Yeah. Don't at anyone.
Don't at the person.
Yeah,
that's weird.
You don't actually go march into the back kitchen and look at the chef dead in the eye.
Right.
Your food sucks ass. I just don't like it.
No, you tell your friends. Like, I went to that restaurant. I didn't really think it was good. That's what you do.
Yeah. Be polite about it. Have some human decency.
Yes.
Talk behind their backs.
Very important. Very important clarification, Caitie. I don't think I have anything else on Absolution either. Do you want to talk about Starfield for a little bit?
Sure. I know nothing about it, though. This is all you. Tell me about Starfield, Jordan.
Apparently, it's exactly like No Man's Sky. So Starfield came out. We were going to do this as a cold open. That's why we're sticking it in at the end. Starfield gameplay debut happened at the Xbox Summer Showcase thing, whatever it's called. Xbox Bethesda Showcase is about 15 minutes of gameplay. It showed landing onto a moon. It showed a little bit of action. It showed the character creator. It gave a preview of the story, the conversation system. The facial animations look way better than anything Bethesda's ever done before.
Oh,
that's probably the only part that and something else that they showed, where the facial animations actually make you go, oh, this almost doesn't look like a Bethesda game. That's how good it looks. Everything else looks like a Bethesda game. Like when you see the character walking in third person, you go, yep, it's that same janky, stilted walking animation from Fallout 4. It looks slightly better. Every game, it gets a little bit better. Like from Morrowind to Oblivion to Skyrim to Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, it's the same goddamn janky walking animation that just gets slightly better every time. Same in Starfield. It looks better than it did in Fallout 4, but it's the same goddamn thing. But they showed the things that I think they needed to show in order to pique people's interest for what a Bethesda game is. That is exploration. That is character builds. That is choices that matter, factions, and just a bunch of places you can go out and look for stuff and kind of quote unquote craft your own story. In the midst of that, they showed janky walking animations and combat that's like kind of lackluster combat and graphics that really aren't very good. I don't know why people expected any of those things to be different. Like you should have expected that the combat's going to be and the graphics are not going to be Red Dead Redemption or Horizon Zero Dawn. Like it's Bethesda. Like you should have expected those things. You should have known going in that they just don't have the technology to revamp how their games look from that standpoint.
Yeah.
What they can do is the advantage of their game engine, as Todd Howard and many others have said a bunch, is that we can make a lot of content in our game engine, and we don't need to have our most technical people work on building a level. Like if anyone has ever used their mod tools, it's very easy for like designers to just make their own space with assets that are almost kind of like drag and drop, and they don't have to like go through a different pipeline to have custom stuff made every time just because they've imagined a place in the world that should exist, almost like a modder would. They can just go in and create a game space. So what you get from that is a game that has a lot of places you can look at.
I guess I appreciate that mindset of Todd. I'm assuming Todd's a meme, so I have to use him. But Todd just sitting down and being like, you know what? Our game's not going to be pretty, but we're going to have a lot of shit to do. Just like they know, like, we can't do this well, so we're going to do this one thing well, and then they just kind of pigeonhole themselves. I think that's appropriate. I wish more games would do that, trying to be like the whole experience, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. There's a bunch of other games that will do something other than that. Bethesda games do this. 1,000 Planets, obviously that's going to be procedural. I'm thinking it's probably going to be procedural with like an edit pass, like a quality check of an actual human designer looking at it just to make sure it didn't procedurally put some fucking ridiculous thing on there. But yeah, it's going to have 1,000 planets, 100 star systems. You're going to be able to land anywhere on the planet by selecting the point. You're not going to be able to do like the Star Citizen, fly directly from space into the atmosphere. You'll pick a little, kind of like the Mass Effect galaxy map view, but you'll pick that spot and then it'll like fade to black or whatever it does and put you down on the planet.
You can't explore the whole planet. You'll explore like a little, however big the map is on the planet.
So people are debating this now because what Todd Howard said, while he said you will be able to go anywhere and land anywhere on the planet. And while he was saying those words, it was showing a picture of the galaxy map with a little circle cursor that you were moving around the planet, and you could, I guess, select that spot to land onto.
Okay.
In an interview with IGN, he said you cannot fly straight down to the planet from space, like without a loading screen. So people are now debating, like, well, does that mean you're going to pick one spot on the planet to explore, or can you return back to the galaxy map, move your cursor like a little bit over to the right, select that spot, and then land in a quote-unquote different spot? And I think that's, I guess, somewhat unclear, but that's the way that I've understood what he said, is that you're going to be able to move your cursor anywhere around the planet and then see a different part of the planet, even if that has been procedurally generated. It'll be a different spot.
Okay.
But either way, right? Like it's a lot of content. space flight, you're actually going to be able to fly the ships, which I think is huge. I think that's a huge thing. That also looked pretty damn good. I will say, like, as someone who plays Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, Everspace, and No Man's, like, I'm not exactly unfamiliar with spaceflight games. I'm pretty well versed in them, and from what I saw, I'm thinking we'll see something that's a notch below, or a couple notches below, the realism of Elite Dangerous, and maybe somewhere in between Star Citizen and Everspace as far as realism versus fun dynamic, and just way better than No Man's Sky. Because as much as I love No Man's Sky, the flying is like, it's like Fisher Price spaceships. It's ridiculous. It's just stupid. And I'm not here to bash No Man's Sky. I love No Man's Sky. The thing that I don't understand about this discourse between Starfield and No Man's Sky is, like, I want all of it. Like, I want everything that's, like, I don't care. Elite Dangerous versus Star Citizen, both. Fucking Elite Dangerous versus Everspace, both. Fucking Starfield versus No Man's Sky versus Star Citizen. I want all of it. Like, I play all of them. And to me, they all offer something a little bit different. Like, Elite Dangerous is obviously the most complete as far as, like, being a star pilot. The amount of, resources to trade, places to go, things to discover, it's the most done. It's the oldest game. No Man's Sky right now is easily the best for base building, and like, it's just pure resource gathering and base building. And the flying is like so. They recently did a patch to make it less Fisher Price, I guess. Star Citizen is easily the highest fidelity. It's incredible, the level of detail, but it has the least in terms of actual gameplay loops. Everspace is obviously the best for just, like, it's more arcade. It's the least realistic. Well, No Man's Sky is the least realistic as far as flying, but, like, Everspace is very arcadey, but it's very fun to just pick up and play. You don't have to be hardcore space pilot sim person. You can just, like, fly around in third person and pew things in space. It's fun.
Yeah.
And to me, Starfield's kind of going to straddle the line between not as much fidelity as Star Citizen, not quite as arcade style as Everspace. And if it does that successfully, it's going to have its own lane that no other game has done, and that's going to be perfect. It'll be one more space game to play.
Yeah. Well, I think that discourse you mentioned of, like, people just arguing that, this or that game is the best, I think that goes back into the religion aspect, because, like, you got the people who are obsessed with whatever version they like, and they're like, well, it's the best because that's the one that I have chosen, and therefore it is the best.
Yeah.
When they all kind of have their pros and cons, and maybe, like, for you, the con of Starfield is so terrible for them that they don't want to touch it, and that's fine. Or the people that are like, well, No Man's Sky has this bad history, and I don't like how it looks, and it's Fisher Price, whatever, and I don't want to touch it, and I only do big boy games like Starfield. Fine, that's okay. But yeah, I guess, like, the people are, it's like people that do console wars, like the Xbox versus PlayStation kids. Like, who gives a shit? Especially nowadays, they're basically the same, But yeah, just I don't know. People arguing over which game is the best. It's just like, I mean, if you want to, like, have a friendly chat, that's one thing. But, like,
Right.
What are you doing with your time that this is something that feels worthwhile to you?
I completely agree. I think you're spot on, again, with the religion comparison. And what's really, to your point exactly that you're making, is that video games really are not worth arguing about. If it's a friendly debate, it can be fun to debate them, sure.
Yeah.
I like some of the comparisons and quote unquote debates about Star Citizen versus Elite Dangerous, because I think they're both good. But, like, with the religion comparison, you could make the argument that, like, debating or arguing over the broad set of morals that a society adopts broadly is important to hash out. Entertainment is so inconsequential. It literally doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what piece of plastic you're playing your video games on. Like, it really doesn't. People will go to the mat. Like, it took me so long to realize, like, the Starfield is too much like No Man's Sky, and the Last of Us remake doesn't look different enough. Okay. It took me like a week to realize that was just Xbox or Sony fanboys who were driving that whole fucking thing. I kept looking at the videos of No Man's Sky and Starfield, and I'm like, even the side-by-side videos that they're showing, the footage doesn't even look the same in a lot of cases. Like, doesn't make any sense. And the people who are complaining about the Last of Us remake not being different enough, I'm like, it looks way fucking better. Like, who's saying this? And then I remember that console wars are still a thing. And then you click on somebody's profile on Twitter and you realize that the person who is saying that the Last of Us remake doesn't look different enough, just like all fucking day, all they do is just trash Sony. I'm like, oh, this is bullshit. This is just people making stuff up.
How many of those people are like bored kids? How
sure.
many do you think? Or people like this is terrible for me that I have to admit this, but I love the Chris Chan documentary that's on YouTube, and I've been watching a bunch of Chris Chan stuff. I'm sorry, it's terrible of me. But he's an autistic guy, and sometimes autism, you get really hyper focused on these things, and like I'm not trying to be critical. Like sometimes, like is it just someone who's has a mental disorder where they get hyper focused and like they don't quite understand the intricacies of it's okay not to love Sony or Xbox type of thing. Like, is it just kind of that situation going on, and that like, okay, you go yell into the void, we're gonna just ignore you, honey, like that type of thing? Or or are they just kids, or is it some just poor guy or girl who just hates their life and has nothing better to do, like just who are these people? Who are you guys? I don't understand. I've never met anyone in real life that was like, oh, you have a PlayStation? I'm sorry, we can't talk. We can't be friends. Because I don't know.
Throughout, I mean, I've tried to own as many of the systems as I can because I like all of them. But throughout my life, I've generally gone more Xbox or Nintendo than PlayStation. But currently, I think the PlayStation 5 is the best console that's out there, and it's close. I am fortunate enough that I've got all of them right now. I didn't go out and buy them on day one, but over time, I can afford it. I'll get the other one. Yeah. So I've got all of them. But if I had to pick, I think my PS5 I think it's just the best overall machine. I think it's absolutely great. Yeah. But I don't think I've said that about Sony's product in any of the prior generations. And maybe some people will think that's wrong, but it's like, I'm not on Xbox's side. Like, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, like, it's not my job to defend Xbox's product. Like, my main point is be a traitor. Just be a traitor. Like, I've always been Xbox. It's like, so what? Just stab Xbox in the back. Just betray him. Just be a turncoat. Go to the other side now if the other side makes a better product. It's not like loyalty to your country, your religion, your family, your friends. Like, don't be a traitor on any of those things. Whatever. Religion's kind of interesting. It would be weird if somebody was changing religions every year, right? It's like, maybe that would be odd, but like, change fandoms. Oh, you used to like Star Wars, you liked it growing up. Well, who cares? If you don't like Star Wars anymore, like something else. Yeah. Like, change from DC to Marvel, vice versa. Change from PlayStation to Xbox. Change from fucking chess to checkers. I don't care. Like, don't have any loyalty to this stuff. Like, don't have loyalty to fandoms because it's all just there so that companies can make money off of it. Yeah. If it's good, like it. If it's not, like, don't have any loyalty to it. I tweeted out when I saw the Starfield thing, I said, if they pull this off, it'll surpass Mass Effect for me. And I hesitated a brief second before I tweeted that out, before I realized, like, I'm never going to say that the 15 playthroughs of the Mass Effect trilogy that I've already done are shit, because I already loved those. Yeah. But in the future, I have no loyalty. It doesn't have to be my favorite video game franchise forever. Yeah. I'm not obligated to do that. Like, I can just change my mind if something else comes along. And that's how people, I think, should be when it comes to entertainment. Like, have no loyalty.
I feel like we end up talking about this a lot, to be quite honest, especially since like we are a podcast devoted to one company, technically, by name, by advertisement. So here we are. Welcome to Split the Veil, a Bioware podcast. Have no loyalty to corporations. That's our tag.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
That's our stick. We like Bioware, but only if. But we're not loyal to them.
But we'll like, think about it. In the back. Don't you genuinely love Dragon Age?
I do. Yeah. No. But here's the thing. I don't give a shit about Anthem. I actually kind of don't. Like, it's not Bioware. But whatever.
Exactly. No, I genuinely love Mass Effect and KOTOR and Dragon Age, and Baldur's Gate, and like, I genuinely do love these games. So that, I think, is what has caused us both to be the people doing this podcast, is that we've played Dragon Age and Mass Effect an inordinate amount of times. Like,
Yes.
it's ridiculous. Like, Liana Rupert, right?
Yeah.
Over at Game Informer is the only person who has those beats. As far as like, she's played Mass Effect 27 times or something like that. I'm like, holy shit.
I will say she is the only games journalist that when they cover Dragon Age, I'm like, you got it.
Yep.
You got it. I'm not going to say shit. You got it, girl. And she's the only one I follow. Everyone else, like, I say Gamer Rant, they'll always have something, and I'll read the article. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
yeah, PC Gamer and all the other ones.
Like,
it's like,
what? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, like, there's few people who have played it that as much as we have. So we genuinely love what has come thus far. But yeah, I mean, whatever may happen with Split the Veil, I think we've talked about, like, if something else catches our interest, be it maybe Baldur's Gate 3 one day or something else, if our passions shift, then more than likely the content's going to shift.
Yeah. And here's another thing of, like, content creation is so strange because, like, we've definitely pigeonholed ourselves with Bioware content. So, like, if we stop doing that, I think we would lose interest in our stuff. Now, there's probably some people who are like, oh, well, listen to you, whatever the fuck you talk about, because you never talk about Bioware games anyway. We just spent 20 minutes talking about this stuff. But, and, like, they're more into our personalities than not. But, like, we would lose people. We probably would lose the $40 we're pulling a month. But, yeah, I don't know. We're I guess what I mean to say is that we're entering an era of, like, people like me that have pigeonholed themselves in a very specific fandom media, and they're trying, and, like, people that don't think like I do and, like, actually make a living off of this. They're like, I have to get people into this fandom. I have to get people excited. I have to make everything sound like it's amazing. Otherwise, I lose my job. And, like, that's also kind of scary when you think about it. Like, you need loyalty to a corporation to survive, some of these content creators. And, like, that kind of sucks. Like, I'm sure there's people right now pretending that they love Minecraft and making Minecraft YouTube videos because all the 12-year-olds that watch them, that's the only thing they watch of them. Meanwhile, they hate it. I think that's kind of what happened to Yogscast a little bit. I'm not a Yogscast historian, but, like, the only videos they did well for a while there were just Minecraft Let's Plays, and you click on Let's Play 165 of Minecraft Buildcraft or the fuck it is, and they just sound so bored, you know? They have to do that because that what makes money, and I don't know. For everyone that wants to be content creators, that's my warning. Either diversify your portfolio or be very sad. Or be willing to quit like me.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though, right? I would like to believe that there's an audience of people who just like good stuff. And we can always just talk about good stuff. A friend of mine is, he kind of just dabbles in it, but, like, every now and then he posts some stuff on TikTok around Star Wars and Marvel that gains traction. So I guess he's kind of a TikTok content creator. And I've told him the same thing, which is, like, his argument is always like, well, we don't want to be negative because we don't want to lose the fandom, etc. And I'm like, well, look, man, like, you know a lot about film. Like, you could talk about any number of movies, whether they're even new movies or not, and you could, shine light on what makes those things good. And I think there's an audience for that no matter what. Like, there was a point where I used to watch a lot more movies, and as time gets tight, you end up, I guess, watching blockbusters more. I don't know how that happens, but everyone ends up watching the same 5 movies a year, and maybe those indie films don't get watched as much, but there are a lot of good movies out there besides the same fucking Star Wars, Marvel, blockbuster shit that everybody watches. And maybe there should just be communities around whichever films are good. Crazy idea, I know, but
I know. I will say I've enjoyed watching Red Letter Media's content for the better part of a decade now, and I feel like they kind of do that. Their fandom, the Red Letter Media community is kind of based on people that don't like the current Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel stuff because it's kind of bullshit sometimes. Like, Red Letter Media recently did a review of Star Trek Picard, and it was hilarious watching because, like, they honestly love TNG and stuff like that. I don't know if you watched this or not. But yeah, I recently was watching from them. They do like a movie roundup, and these guys are film buffs, and they're talking about indie movies or indie TV shows they watch that are really really good. And it's just interesting. Like I never even heard of this, and apparently it's great. And they're like describing what makes it good. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. I should give that a watch. And like I don't know, I find that kind of more interesting than let's talk about whatever the Multiverse of Madness movie was. Like, oh well.
I completely agree, and I think they know a lot about film for sure.
Yeah, that being said, I'll be honest, I was tired of Cape Ship when the Avengers came out.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
10 years ago. I'm ready to move on.
Don't worry, Caitie, it's about to die. Don't tell that to the people who are really into it, but it's in its death throes, trust me.
I know. I will say, like, the growing up, nerdy stuff and like comic books and stuff like that was so uncool that having this be like the cool thing is so jarring to me. Like, I was in Hobby Lobby the other day. Do you know how weird it is to go into Hobby Lobby and they have a whole decor section, not like party stuff, not for kids, decor for your home on Marvel movies? It's like, welcome to our superhero home. We have a superhero. I love my super dad. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, it's reached Hobby Lobby. I don't know why I'm surprised, but like Hobby Lobby is for old women to decorate. And here I am looking at like a whole wall of superhero stuff, and not for the kids. This is for adults. Like they had like a "This is my Bat Cave" thing instead of Man Cave, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is real."
Yeah, it's also awful. Like it's awful. Like the fact that this is the mainstream is fucking awful. I've said this before on the show. I'm going to repeat it every time this topic comes back up. Everyone should go watch a movie called Valley Girls from the 80s and just understand that there were people who were like that, who thought that by talking that way and dressing that way and being that way that they were cool, and it's all going to age badly. Also, if you go watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World, that movie, it's fucking hilarious. That movie is a disaster of early 2000s tropes and sort of like style and everything.
It is so weird how that just was that era. Yeah, it is like early 2000s fashion likes of like, do you remember retro games?
It all ages badly, and the era that we're in right now is going to age badly too. By the time it's 2035, we're going to look back at how a lot of people acted and talked, and we're like so into defending the fandoms, and it's gonna be cringe. So like, just
frankly, even the stuff that we do, I can't wait for my kids, particularly my daughter, to like come and roast me on what we're doing right now.
I agree.
Like going to school, like, did you know my mom had a podcast too? Can you believe how embarrassing that is?
I'm not saying I'm above it or not doing it. I'm just saying
I've definitely participated at times. I'm not innocent.
Yeah, we should all just recognize that, you know, this is like old photos of us wearing the current fashion of whatever was popular at the time.
Yeah. We all had those. We talked about this before, like the blending of fandom t-shirts, like Charizard. That's
yeah, Charmander Shepherd.
Yeah, Charmander Shepherd. There it is.
So yeah, go out and watch different movies, folks. I cut the 8 minutes of me talking about Top Gun Maverick out of the last episode, and people were like, "Put it back in."
That's true. Yeah, people wanted it back.
I thought it was too long. I thought, oh, this is going to be it. We can't do the first 10 minutes of talking about this shit. So I take it out, but I leave the little tail in there of me finishing talking about it. And a few people in the comments were like, he was talking about Top Gun. I know it. Put it back in.
Well, here's the question. Are you going to throw it on the end of this episode?
No. But I will say this. Just lastly, like, there's some stuff that I just didn't watch. Like, I never watched Isle of Dogs from Wes Anderson. I had never watched Phantom Thread, which was a Paul Thomas Anderson, Daniel Day-Lewis film. Like, go back and watch some of this stuff. Like, while Marvel and Star Wars have been peak going through the roof, like, there was a lot of movies that didn't get watched that much, you know? And, like, go back and watch some of these movies. Like, this year, Everything Everywhere All at Once has been phenomenal. The Northman's been phenomenal. Top Gun's been phenomenal. Like, there's a lot of non-Cape, non-Star Wars shit that's out there. And some of it's really fucking good. Like, really good.
I will also say, like, there are some people that don't like the heavy movies and they just want something lighthearted and stupid. Those movies exist too. I don't know shit about movies, so I can't give you a recommendation, but it exists.
Oh yeah.
If you just want to watch more Fast and Furious, there are Fast and Furious knockoffs like that are fun and do stupid shit too. Or even like older movies, like the older Mad Maxes, they're kind of bizarre. Michael and I have been watching the original Nightmare on Elm Streets. Those are
Yep.
fun because they're so weird. It's very bizarre, especially the second one. That one was weird, but but yeah, they're fun.
Absolutely go back and watch old stuff too. Like it's so much fun. Like 80s sci-fi is fantastic, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like this episode just became old man yells at cloud.
On a podcast.
Yeah.
The millennial old man.
Oh yeah, we're yelling at the Gen Zs of like, stop getting on the fandoms. Go outside, touch grass. I like, here's the thing. I actually don't like watching movies at all. I like doing something with my hands. So like I have no room to talk. If anything, I need to play more indie games. Like Michael's really into indie games. He's been we kind of got out of it, but we were playing a lot of Kingdom 2 Crowns together. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's like a base building side scroller that's co-op.
Oh.
It's interesting. They have like a couple different versions. We've been playing the medieval one, but they have one with Vikings. There's one coming out with the 80s. That's been a really fun game. Michael has been obsessed with this game called Supraland that he likes. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, like Michael's more into the indie gaming scene, and all the time I'll look over. I'm like, "What the fuck are you playing?" He's like, "I don't know. I got it for free on Epic. It's all right." I'm like, "Okay, have fun with that."
Cool.
But yeah, I guess I have no room to talk because the only video games I play are basically the AAA Animal Crossing and Dragon Age. But like,
there's stuff out there.
There's stuff out there. And if I had more time, I'd be willing to play because I love Stardew Valley back when that was more of an indie hit. Now it's gotten huge. But yeah. Anyway, I guess that's where we call it.
Yeah, we did 30 minutes on Dragon Age Absolution and 35 minutes on whatever we feel like.
Yeah, that's about how this podcast goes nowadays. I thought we'd talk about more about like, it's not even E3 anymore, but the game trailer season. But I just didn't see anything that even interested me, other than like you were talking about Starfield. But no, I haven't really seen anything. Oh, there is it Witchbrook that's coming out from Chucklefish, but like that they just like posted some screenshots. There's not even a trailer of that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff out there. There's the new Diablo, the Diablo 4, which for Diablo folks, that's there. Starfield's there. I'm really disappointed we didn't get to see anything from Avowed, but there's that one that's the one game based on Rick and Morty. That looks kind of interesting. Not based on. I'm sorry, same creators as Rick and Morty. Yeah, that seems kind of interesting. There was stuff out there that caught my attention, but. Yeah, E3 is apparently going to be back in a centralized form next year. We'll see how it does.
Oh, really? I thought it was dead.
I think I saw that. I think I saw they were bringing it back.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if that means Keeley's going to step aside or there's going to be a war.
No, there's going to be a war. While he's smiling, Geoff is going to look at E3 and be like, "It's on. Welcome." But
Jeff has tasted power. He will not give up his.
Good for him. Let them compete. That usually companies competing ends up for better products for the people.
I agree.
So hopefully you have they're showing off a better game. I don't even know how you make E3 better other than just taking off live performances. But yeah.
All right, Caitie. Where can the folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter as Ghildirthalen, on YouTube as Ghildirthalen, and I promise to get better at Instagram, but I've been trying just to recover from being sick, which is also Ghildirthalen. I think there's an underscore in there. I don't know. Where can they find you, Jordan?
They can find me at the Exalted March on YouTube and Twitter.
All right, and with that, Darshara.